Hello everybody. In this video I'm taking a look at 3R's German World War II Grand Admiral Raeder. Uh, you don't see very many naval figures in this hobby except for Navy SEALs. So much less an admiral. So I was very happy when this came along recently. Erich Raeder, he joined the Imperial German Navy in 1894, rose rapidly through the ranks, at one time commanded the Kaiser's state yacht, the Hohenzollern. He continued to rise up through the Navy during the Weimar Republic. In 1936, when Hitler came into power and he renamed the Navy as the Kriegsmarine, he made Raeder the head of the Navy and promoted him to General Admiral. At that time, a General Admiral was equivalent to an admiral in the U.S. or UK Navy. In 1939, he was promoted to Grand Admiral, which is equivalent to a Field Marshal. In 1943, he was replaced by Karl Donitz, who was promoted to Grand Admiral. At the end of the war, Erich Raeder tried to escape, was captured by the Soviets, sent to Moscow for prison there, and then he was returned to Nuremberg to stand trial for war crimes. He was found guilty. Instead of he was expecting to get the death penalty, but instead he got life in prison. In 1955, he was released early for ill health, and he died in 1960. So here is the figure as it comes out of the box. He's wearing his service uniform. You do have to add his ceremonial dagger, and then his hat. You have to install his peel and stick, his breast insignia, and also the eagle and the crest here on his hat. He doesn't come with the dagger on. You have to add the belt around his pants and then the dagger. I was not paying attention and not very careful manhandling him, and I ended up wrinkling his pants pretty badly. So that's him in his service uniform. He also comes with a frock coat, another cap, his sword, and other accoutrements to dress him in his dress uniform. And that is what this looks like. That's what I did have to buy an additional pants, shoes, body and head, shirt, bow tie, and his neck ribbon to create this second figure. But he comes with a white hat, like I said, the frock coat, the ceremonial belt, his sword, his gold braid, and his ribbon bar. What I find interesting about his dress uniform, it's very reminiscent of the uniforms of the Imperial German Navy. Even by 1930s, this was somewhat old-fashioned. Let's see, what else do I have to say? Like I said, a Grand Admiral was equivalent to a Field Marshal, so like a Field Marshal, he got a baton. He should be wearing his gray gloves when he's holding the baton. He does come with a pair of bendy hands, which that's what these are. I tried putting I've gotten pretty adept at putting the gloves on the bendy hands, but I still cannot pose them so that they're grabbing anything. So I put the gloves in one hand and the baton in the other. Um, I think they wore the gloves when they had the baton is because the shaft of the baton is covered with velvet, and then they apply these gold and jeweled emblems on it. So that's it. The figure is fairly easy to assemble. Like I said, you've got to peel and stick the National Eagle emblem on the breast. Also, these crests on the front of the hat. It is a little tricky with this leather strap going across, trying to get the crest behind it. Also, this eagle is different from this one. This one is actually metal. It's not a peel and stick. So I applied it with fabric glue. The other thing that was a little bit tricky on his dress uniform, on his epaulets, just like a field marshal, he's got the cross batons on his epaulets, and those had to be glued on. I used super glue for that. His sword, unlike other 3R figures, his sword does not come out of the scabbard. It's one piece. Although that really doesn't bother me because I don't ever plan on posing him with the sword unsheathed. The other thing that was a little bit tricky was putting the ribbon bar on, just trying to make sure it was straight. His gold braid and cords, the four ends have to get looped together, and then there's a little tiny button under the lapel that it then loops on. That was a little tricky, but not impossible. There is some variations on the two uniforms. In lieu of the sword, you can put the ceremonial dagger on this uniform. You would not put the sword on his service uniform, though. But there are pictures where instead of the sword, he has ceremonial dagger. Also, the hats are interchangeable. Looking at historic photos, he wore the blue cap with both uniforms, and the white cap, vice versa. So there's a little bit of variation there. The other thing that's interesting about their uniforms, unlike the Army and the Luftwaffe, where they use pretty much the same jacket for both their service uniforms and their dress uniforms, they would just swap out the ribbons, the belts, and that sort of thing. In the Navy, they had a separate dress uniform. So they had the service uniform with short jacket, and then the frock coat for officers for the dress uniform. They had a even more elaborate uniform where they would take this dress uniform, swap out the epaulets with the fringed variety epaulets. Instead of the cap, they would wear a fore and aft hat. So as far as the quality of the figure goes, like all of 3R's products, it's pretty much top notch. I didn't have any problems with it other than attaching, these emblems on the cross batons onto his epaulet. This eagle symbol on this hat, and then his party badge over here that also had to be attached. Trying to attach such small items is, I think, is asking a lot, especially since on other figures these exact same items already come attached to the figures. So it's very especially gluing these little things on. That was my only beef, although it was very minor beef. The other thing, if I'm being nitpicky, his shoes are not leather. A lot of their figures, the boots are leather. His shoes are just hard vinyl. But that's a minor thing. The other thing I would say is his the gold braid on his sleeves. That's not iron on. That's actually gold yellow ribbon that is sewn on. So that's going to last a long time. It's very well made, very heavy material on his uniform. Like I said, the only thing I would advise is you can see how wrinkled his pants are, but that's because of my manhandling it, so be careful with that. So, the only other thing, I wish he came with a frock coat, or not a frock coat, but the great coat. Since I've got my field marshal collection with also wearing great coats, I would have liked to have the naval version with a great coat, but he didn't come with one, so that's okay. But there you have it. Grand Admiral of the German Navy in World War II, Eric Raeder. I think he's an excellent piece, especially in his dress uniform. I really like that. So there you have it. Hope you liked this video. Hope you liked the figure. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching.